start the video. Um, just remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to see if we can reach at least maybe close to 1K by the end of this year. Um, I don't really have much else to say. Just share these videos with your friends. Um, comment on the videos so that YouTube will be able to just distribute it more. Because apparently, the more comments on a video, the more YouTube is willing to distribute the videos to wider audiences, which means that I could also gain more views and also we could basically help me get closer to 1K so that we can unlock that community tab so that we will be able to be more interactive so that I can see your guys' thoughts and opinions more. And besides that, just share and comment, like the videos as well, just so that I will know that you guys are still interested in these what ifs. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. King Time X out. Play that intro. Alright, so I did say that I was going to do a double upload due to how short the other video was, and intend on actually doing this. I'm also trying to test something out with my voice. I'm trying to get it deeper here. Cause I could not afford to just have Brad be the one to have that deep voice, that such a deep voice at the age of 14, my guy. And I'm here with this squeaky voice. Anyways, if you're wondering who Brad is, don't worry about it. um, I last left. I think I last left off basically with the quick apprehension test. That was the name of it. I was trying to figure out the name of it in the last video, but of course, since your boy ain't do no script for it, he couldn't remember. And I'm still not doing the script. That's the funny part about everything. Let's see. So basically, let me list off some of the powers that Azuku has right now. I believe that he has pyrokinesis, telekinesis, teleportation, and energy manipulation. On top of that, he's also able to feed off of negative energy. What do I mean by negative energy? I mean more so negative emotions. So obviously, living with the Todoroki family for all these years, he is incredibly strong because there's a bunch of animosity between the members of that household. And everybody has some sort of negative emotion, so being able to feed off of that, it's like a constant meal for him. It's like he's always gaining more and more power. Every day he's becoming stronger. That's the most terrifying part about the ability. But now that we got that out of the way, let's go on to the next day of UA. Obviously, most of the things would stay pretty similar to in canon, except for the battle trial arc. Basically, when you're allowed to fight other people. Basically, when it is basically encouraged for you to fight your classmates. Yeah. That's the most hilarious part, I'm just realizing. But basically, here's how things will go. Deku obviously does not have the same costume like in canon. Instead, I would say that he just wears probably something similar to Trigon. Absolutely not. Now that I remember that he just wears like some cloth.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that Zuko wears like a black latex suit, a skin tight suit, and that's about it really. Maybe there's some gauntlets, but that's honestly about it. There's not much for him to really wear. Like, this guy is just so powerful. He doesn't need anything as some sort of support item. So that's why he went the basic route. He doesn't need to wear much of anything. I'm going to say here that things do get interesting. Like, most of the girls would look at Deku and be surprised at just how muscular he is. And they're looking at him and they're realizing, okay, so with this skin tight suit this boy is wearing, it's basically so tight on him. It's basically emphasizing all of his muscles. Yeah. Of course, the boys are still jealous, mad heated. Besides Kirishima thinks that Deku is actually cool here. He thinks that Deku may be pretty strong. He saw what he did at the quirk apprehension test, and he heard how he managed to take down the 0 pointer. So he is obviously impressed with Izuku. Bakugo, on the other hand, he wants to fight Izuku really badly now. He wants to show that he is the superior one. He is the dominant one in this relationship. Not relationship. He is the dominant one here. He is superior to everybody else in Class 1A. That's basically what Bakugo is trying to prove here. But obviously, that's not going to happen. Because I'm the one who's doing this what if, obviously. And Deku is a son of Trigon. Well, a son of Trigon. What happens here, I would say, is pretty interesting. Why do I say interesting? It's pretty obvious. Like, they still get paired up. It's pretty much the same pairing as, like, in canon. Deku and Uraraka versus Bakugo and Ida. You think that Deku would actually teleport here, though? No, he wants to have a good fight. He's going to actually let it go on for a while. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say that the roles are reversed here. So, Deku is the villain, actually. So this will just be him stalling the whole entire time. What happens is that while stalling, Bakugo is trying to find the bomb. He's using his explosions and he is angry. He's getting frustrated trying to search for the bomb. And Izuku is just waiting patiently in one of the rooms, while Uraraka is on the other side protecting the bomb. Izuku is basically like a gatekeeper for the bomb. When Bakugo finally encounters Izuku, though, Bakugo forgets all about his mission on trying to retrieve the bomb. Instead, he goes all out and tries to fight Izuku. You think that Bakugo would win here? Let's be honest. Do you? Bakugo tries to use his explosions, but the fire just immediately gets absorbed by Izuku. Bakugo is confused at first, but then his confusion is met with even more confusion when Izuku actually uses his telekinesis on Bakugo. Bakugo is very confused. He's like, what is this guy doing? What is happening to my body? Oh, why can't I move my body? Izuku isn't even moving his arms. He's just looking at Bakugo. And he just shifts his head to the left. Bakugo's body immediately hits the wall. Hits the left wall. Izuku moves his head to the right. Bakugo is basically thrown to the next wall. Izuku doesn't even bother moving his head anymore afterwards. He's just shifting his eyes. and basically bashing Bakugo into the walls. Deku, he's just enjoying the moment, honestly. I would say that he does get bored though, and basically tries to knock Bakugo unconscious, but the boy gets up. He tries to use his explosions again. The force from the explosions are still there, but the burning part of the explosions are no longer there. Zuko absorbs all of the spikes from his explosions. Obviously, obviously this does empower him, and he does end up making his own fire blast back at Bakugo. Bakugo ends up taking the full brunt of the damage, takes the full brunt of the fire that Izuku released on him, which is like 10 times more powerful than how it should have been. And Bakugo realizes that, okay, there's something up with this kid. There is something weird with this guy. This guy is just very incredibly strong for some reason. For no given reason. What is this guy's quirk? For crying out loud, tell me already. It seems like he has some sort of pyrokinesis and at the same time telekinesis. Is he a half and half or something? That's what Bakugo is trying to figure out here. I don't think there would be much to change here though, because afterwards Izuku would probably just crush Bakugo. No, Izuku would throw Bakugo to the ground, and he would actually come charging at Bakugo. He would grab Bakugo by the neck and just throw him even further down the hall. And this is basically the straw that broke the camel's back. Bakugo is enraged. He's so enraged here. He's angry. He's beyond furious here now. His bones are broken though. He pushes past the pain and tries to go all out on Izuku. He's using explosions. He ends up pulling the pin on his gauntlets. Both of them actually. And tries to blast Zuko with them, thinking that Zuko has a sort of limit on just how much fire he can absorb at once. He doesn't. But he allows it to hit him actually. Only for him to just walk out of the flames saying, that tickled. And that kind of warmed him up. And he gives a thumbs up to Bakugo saying thanks. Bakugo is exhausted here. And he's confused. What the heck is this kid made out of? What are his parents feeding him? He wants some of that. This kid seems to be like the reincarnation of All Might, for crying out loud. Is he like some sort of government experiment that mixes All Might's DNA with Endeavor's and all of that good jazz? Or what? He doesn't understand it. I focus way too much on this fight though. Look, basically that's all I have to say for right now in terms of how it goes with Waraka and Ida. Deku literally just teleports there as soon as Ida makes it to where the bomb is, and at the same time, Izuku also finished his fight with Bakugo. It was slightly amusing for Izuku. He could have been stronger though. He was very used to fighting people like Endeavor on the daily, so that's why he found it to be a bit of a drag, to be honest. He was expecting more from a person like Bakugo, who seemed to be very cocky for no apparent reason. In his eyes, at the very least. He saw Bakugo to be very, very weak. And obviously we know that he isn't, but Deku's just on a whole nother level. He teleports and grabs Ida by the face and just pins him down to the floor, immobilizing him. And this basically has it so that All Might has to say the villains win. Everybody is impressed with how Izuku was able to easily handle both Ida and Bakugo, and he would have gotten an MVP if it weren't for the fact that he was fooling around too much. And it turns out that, well, nobody really gets an MVP here. That's a lie. Deku does get the MVP here. It's just that, well, he fooled around too much. He should have quickly subdued Bakugo from before. And Deku just turns a blind eye to this. He just lets it go in one ear and go out the other. That's basically it for Izuku. Now, things are interesting in where I would say that the next thing we have on the list is the USJ, because when it comes on to the election, I'm basically trying to figure out like class rep. I would say that it goes pretty similar to in canon, and Deku just ends up giving the role to Ida. He doesn't really care for that role, to be honest. As a matter of fact, he could live without it. He he really doesn't want that role. He finds it to be too much responsibility for too little outcome. For too little of an outcome, honestly. On top of that, when it came on to how everybody treated this whole invasion, this whole trespassing plight, everybody was fleeing, everybody was panicking, everybody was scared and in confusion. Izuku was eating it all up, honestly. All of these negative emotions were just like a buffet for him. Yeah. What happens next is going to be the USJ. The USJ is interesting in where this is the first time they actually have to face real villains. Well, for the most part, anyways. I would say that things would not go the same as in canon. As a matter of fact, it goes way different than in canon because I have plans here. Oh, jeez. This is where things get interesting because because there is a limit to just how much negative energy Azuku can store before he has to release it. Like, he can continuously get stronger from this negative energy, but he has to release it somehow. That's the thing about all of it. It's like a piggy bank. Eventually, it gets full, and you need to release some money out of it. Azuku released it in like short bursts, which made it seem as if he was constantly getting more and more powerful by the day. But in actuality, it was because of those negative emotions that were being held inside of him. All of that mix of negative emotions being released. Of course, this is where things get interesting because of just how bad it is. All of these villains popping out of portals and everybody being scattered, that makes people scared. Like, these kids are scared of what is going to happen to them. They are scared of the unknown. And Izuku is just feasting on all of this fear. He's feasting on the fear of the kids. He's feasting on this rage from some of these villains. And then he realizes, hold up, there's this one guy. This one doesn't even seem human. That's what he's realizing. He's looking at the Nomu, and he realizes that this guy just doesn't seem natural at all. Obviously, this is where things will get much more interesting. I wouldn't say that Deku doesn't actually end up on this ship with Mineta and Suyu. As a matter of fact, what actually ends up happening is they are trapped. When they do, they actually do end up somehow making it out though. But, well, here's the thing. No, they died. I'm sorry to say this. I know for all you Suyu fans, you're going to be very angry with me with this video. But there is I don't see a good way for them to have actually made it out of there alive. Suyu tried her best here, but things just did not work out for her. She did not have somebody to help her. Somebody with a useful quirk like Izuku's own that can make pressures that strong. Hey, these villains, they capture her and they basically end her. They end Mineta as well, so all of you Mineta haters, you can be happy now. You can cheer, you can, you can be like, hurrah! A Titan-san did us a favor, or something along those lines. I don't really care. Um, and another thing on top of this, here's what happens. Izuku actually hears the screams of the two when they are basically when their lives are being ended, basically. On top of that, what happens here is Izuku recognizes that voice. He realizes who it is. He's like, oh dang. No, Izuku is actually kind of angry here because they are actually his classmates, and he actually didn't mind her all that much. She seemed to be friendly. She was cool. She was alright. She was alright in this book. Not to, they weren't necessarily the best of friends or anything, but it hurt him, honestly. He never expected to have these emotions come out of him for some reason. And he's angry now. He goes and tries to basically help out Aizawa. Aizawa tries his best in order to, well, take down Shigaraki, but that's when the Nomu appears and actually pummels him to the ground. He's basically treating him like a rag doll, basically bashing his face into the floor, causing him to bleed from his forehead, all of that. Izuku is getting angrier and angrier. He can feel his blood boiling, and he can't take the anger anymore. He can't take these negative emotions anymore. He's usually able to keep himself in a moderate enough mood in order to maintain this negative energy he gets on the daily. But right now, he's feeling a mix of emotions he's never felt before. And that's what actually causes him to go ballistic here. He goes so ballistic, it's crazy. I'm going to try and find an image for it real quick. Like father, like son. Izuku basically grows in stature. He becomes incredibly large here. On top of that, his muscles grow as well. His horns, they become exactly like what is shown. Everything that I'm showing you right now. This is exactly how Izuku looks right now. Everybody looks on in horror at what they are seeing. They are surprised at what they're seeing. Izuku grabs Nomu in his arms. Well, in one of his hands. He grabs it and basically screams in its face. He's absolutely lost it. He has lost his sanity at this point. He can't control his emotions anymore. like he's always had a decent amount of grip on his emotions up until now. What's happening now is that he is losing it. He can't control his emotions, and because of it, he has gone into this state. He's gone into this form of absolute monstrosity. All this negative energy that's built up inside of him, he's usually able to release it in short bursts. But right now, he's built up too much. He's absorbed too much negative energy, and he's he's creating negative energy of his own. All his energy mixed up together and doesn't make a good thing. As a matter of fact, this is probably your worst nightmare coming to life right now. What exactly do I mean by this? It's exactly what I mean. There's nothing. There's not much to really explain here, besides the fact that Trigon is also seeing this. He's basically feeding Izuku more power as well. Basically, also feeding more power to Izuku's rage. This rage Izuku feels, this regret, everything that Izuku is feeling right now. Trigon realizes that a rift is opening up because of all of this release of negative energy. But all of this release of negative energy is crazy. Uh, Trigon is smiling. He with his rift opening up, he's basically trying to poke his finger in, trying to also rip open that rift, trying to get in. But here's where things get interesting. I did say that Deku is the brother of Raven, like twin brother actually. This is when things get interesting. Like I've already stated that Deku is Raven's brother. They came from the same mom. Um, some people were asking me about this before. This is where things get interesting. I've said this so many times now. This is where everything is just badonkulous. Because with this rift opening up, somebody feels this negative energy. Somebody feels this crazy amount of energy being released into the world right now. And it's actually affecting the streets. It's basically affecting the crime rate. It's basically affecting everybody right now. And they're trying to find the pinpoint of everything. They're trying to find the pinpoint, trying to find the source of this release of negative energy that is basically mutating everybody on the streets into these weird monstrosities, basically also causing the roads to blow up in the sorts, basically causing cracks in the roads, causing earthquakes, causing tsunamis, and causing windstorms, all of that mess. It's ridiculous. They are searching. They're trying to find out everything. They're trying to get a good grasp on what's happening. And they zoom out of America. They start off in America. They leave. They leave, and they also go with their teammates. And they're trying to also find a source of negative energy until they find out where exactly it is. If you're wondering who this is, it's Raven. Raven is searching for this negative energy source. She ends up finding out where it is soon enough. She finds out the location is in Japan, of all places, which intrigues her. She wasn't expecting for there to be such a source of negative energy in Japan, of all places. And on top of that, it's so bad that it's actually even causing a rift, or causing a dimensional rift, which allows her father
to actually start to break into Earth. She can practically feel his hand starting to go in, starting to basically tap into the Earth, which is making things even worse than it was before. She has to put a stop to this before it's too late. Like the last time she had to ever face her father, it was in her nightmares, and in her nightmares it was absurd. She could barely handle him in her nightmares. She didn't know how strong. She didn't know how powerful he would be in this dimension. She didn't know if she could actually force him back. It took everything out of her to just to just lock him out of her life, lock him out of her dreams, trying to get him to stop talking to her in her dreams, basically trying to influence her in her dreams. It took her and her teammates in order to basically fight out Trigon in her dreams. She didn't know who this person was, and that was releasing all of this negative energy. Although the energy did seem a bit familiar, almost too familiar for some reason. She ends up making it to the USJ. Cyborg is there as well. Cyborg and Starfire make it there as well with her, and they see what is happening. They don't know. They were not expecting this. They were not expecting to see a person like Azuku here. Like, they're looking at the whole area, and Azuku is crushing the Nomu in his hand. In just one hand. He is so absurdly large right now. Like, he just overshadows the USJ. He overshadows all other buildings. And that's exactly what they're trying to fight against now. It's taking everything. And the strangest thing about all of this is the fact that this energy, despite this person looking so similar to Trigon, the energy doesn't seem right. It's just different from Trigons in general. Like, there are some similarities to it, but there's enough differences in it to make it unique. Make it to where it isn't Trigon's own energy. Although she can feel the influence of Trigon's energy in there, and she is basically trying to put a stop to it now. She's basically trying to go against this energy, basically trying to fight off whoever is in control right now. She's basically trying to help She's basically trying to help everybody by ending this negative energy being released into the world right now, because it's causing chaos on the streets. It's causing a rift in dimensions. She's even looking up at the sky right now, and she can see the sky is starting to crack. That's when she knows she has to stop things before he gets out, before he is able to truly break out of his dimension and wreak havoc on Earth. She can't afford that to happen. That's how I'm going to be ending it off for right now. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's about it for right now. Until next, out.